If South Korea's decision to leave is successful in the non-English language category, it will mark the fourth year in a row that a South Korean production has been named a winner at the Golden Globes after Minari, Parasite, and Squid Game. For more, we now are joined by Mr. Jason Bechervaise. Welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Sure. How are you today?
I'm very well.
All right, we're just less than an hour away from the 80th Golden Globe Awards. Now, and this is the first time in 3 years that a Korean film has been shortlisted for the Best Non-English Language category. Now, how significant is it?
Yeah, I know it is significant in that Korean films now are being nominated for, these major awards following the success of Parasite. Parasite is undoubtedly kind of opened that door further. And as a result, we're seeing more Korean films get nominated at these major awards, including the Golden Globes. But it's also worth noting, actually, before Parasite, The Handmaiden became the first Korean film to be nominated and win a BAFTA. This is the British Film Academy Awards. So Park Chan-wook has certainly, his films and have certainly also kind of opened that door, so to speak, to the West and the world, introducing Korean films, including myself. It was Old Boy and, that year, 2003, along with Memories of Murder, that really did was a significant moment for the Korean film industry. And as Park Chan-wook and Bong Joon-ho and other directors that continue to make films, that door is opened further.
Right. And I'm sure the next question is something that a lot of our viewers are looking forward to hear. Does the decision to leave have a good chance of snatching the award? I mean, how competitive is it this year?
Well, the Golden Globes, they're very difficult to predict. They've increased their membership, well, certainly increased the numbers of those who are voting to around 200, which is not a large number. It's not like the Academy, which has around 10,000 voters. And so, yeah, it's very difficult to pick. I would say the momentum is behind All Quiet on the Western Front. This is a war film. It's secured a number of, kind of places on shortlists at both the Academy and the BAFTAs as well. That's had some huge momentum, kind of last-minute momentum. And there's also RRR, which had a lot of steam behind it in kind of the earlier stages of the awards race. So I would say that one of those two films is more likely to win. That being said, you just don't know with the Golden Globes. It's hard to predict. These voters, they're not part of the Academy necessarily. They're not, because they're journalists. But so yeah, it's a hard one to kind of predict. But I think it'll be either All Quiet on the Western Front or RRR. But there is always a chance that it could be a surprise. And if it does win, then that would give it a much needed boost going into the Academy Awards.
Certainly. I do know that it's very hard to predict, but I hope you're right this time. And now moving on to our last question. Some commentators are saying that it's hard for a romantic movie like Decision to Leave to win an award at Golden Globes. Why is that? And why is it? And why do you think Decision to Leave is special or stand out from other films?
Well, I would actually argue that, Park Chan-wook's films are actually quite dark. You see that in Old Boy, you see that, even in The Handmaiden. And so I would say this film is less kind of explicit than his other films. So you could argue that it's actually more kind of accessible to the voters. That being said, though, this is Park Chan-wook, and I would say he's probably, or his style is probably less accessible than someone like Bong Joon-ho, who just has huge mainstream appeal now. Looking at All Quiet on the Western Front, that is a war movie. War films have traditionally been very popular with Academy Award voters. And I think also the situation in Ukraine as well, and it's an anti-war film. So I think that could well end up securing a number of nominations going forward and also perhaps even winning awards. And so, yeah, the decision to leave, it is going to be harder for it to kind of break out and win some of these awards it's been nominated for. But it's not impossible. It certainly has generated some momentum in the latter stages of this awards race. We saw it also be shortlisted at the BAFTAs for Best Director, Best International Film, also editing as well, so, and original screenplays. So I'm looking at the original screenplay race. I would say it has a chance there going into the Academy Award nominations. So we'll have to wait and see what happens.
Right. Whether or not decision to leave wins, it's a big step for a Korean film to be nominated again, right?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. I mean, every year now there is a film or a series part of the awards race. We saw that with Minari. We saw that, which is an American film, but certainly Korean talent involved. Also Squid Game. Pachinko as well. Again, that's an Apple-funded series, but a lot of Korean talent involved in that production. So it's made me personally very busy because every year there is something that is generating attention, awards buzz. And that really began with Parasite, in 2020, and since then we've seen more and more content get nominated.
Sure. We'll all be eagerly waiting for the result to come out in the coming hour. Thanks for your insight this morning.
Well, thank you for having me.